Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolours. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hi, welcome to How to Paint Watercolours again with me, Colin. I thought we'd do this one today, and what we're going to do is we're going to use basically the yellows and the earth colours. So I'm just going to add a little bit of, just a bit of Naples yellow here and bring it down over the mountain. There's something around here. This side, some nickel yellow. Bring it down over this mountain. The board laying flat at the moment because I actually want all this to basically mingle and spread. I want a bit down here as well. Touch more of the nickel yellow, which I think should actually have gone in there. But it doesn't really matter. It is a mixture of cobalt blue and burnt sienna. Just in this top corner here, I'm not sure if you can see the strength. I think so. I have to mix the colours a little bit stronger so you get to see them a little bit better. Hide this side of the mountain. This is cobalt blue and burnt sienna. I think that'll do it. My two clouds over the top, just pulling the colour out now with the brush. We will leave it at that. Just a little colour slightly onto the hillsides. All the colours are tied together. But around this tree area I have a nice light patch because I want these to kind of show up a bit. I'm going to leave that to dry off. Now that the sky's dry and basically the wash on the mountain is dry, I'll just come to this back mountain here, and I really want this to recede, so I'm just going to wet the whole of the mountain area, basically up to the line of the second mountain and down to the trees. The sky colour of brown, which is the cobalt blue and burnt sienna. I want this to be relatively pale when it really dries, but I want the yellow to show through as well. So we're going to have to be just a little bit careful how we put this on. The board now is at a slight angle, maybe of about 30 degrees I think, and this will help with the flow. With a damp brush, just gently pulling down some shadow, apart from which this will make it a little bit more interesting. This is the cobalt blue and burnt sienna again, and this just adds a shadow side. Damp brush again, just gently pull it in, brush it back if you think it's come too far. I want to take some out here to create a separation line between the first hilly mountain and the second, and then we just have to leave that to dry for a second or two before we come to the second one. When we come to the second mountain, we're just going to add some water on this one as well. I don't want too much detail in these mountains, to be honest. And up to this line on the outside, but I need a ridge line that runs down here, which I'm going to leave dry. You'll see why in a moment. With the cobalt blue and burnt sienna, and I'm just going to drop this in slightly stronger than the other mountain so it comes forward. Sky colour, which is the cobalt blue and burnt sienna again, but it's on the blue side. I'm going to add some interest and some shadow across, and when we get it to there with clean water, you would just blend it out. a lot of people sometimes get mixed up with a damp brush. That's a fully charged brush with water, wiped through with a kitchen towel. You now have a damp brush, and with that you can soften the edges, soften it up into the mountain. After that, I'm going to come along the bottom here, to there. I want to lay in some yellow ochre. Drop some nickel yellow in, just for some light areas. Don't be frightened of using colour. Then we need that to dry. Now it's all basically dry, I'm just going to take some of the sky colour, which is the cobalt blue, and the burnt sienna, and I'm just going to weaken it because I just want to put some background trees in, so I'm just putting a little bit of water in it. Then I sort of around this edge, just very gently and very weakly drag them through, and maybe just a few trunks. We can just gently put in some crags, and this is why we kept this quite clear as the sun's coming across, and maybe just catching the top of those crags. Just put a few indications of rocks and crags in. Once you have that, we will just come to these bushes here. Just wet the area where they are. Some burnt sienna. Just let it explode, don't worry about it. Cobalt blue, burnt sienna. It's a little darker, I'll just pop it in along the bottom. Brings a little depth into the bushes. A light red. I want to put some tree trunks in here, bring it down into the wet bush, let it all mingle. This is the Naples yellow, very strong. Bring this up the whole trunk of this middle tree, because sometimes you get that yellowy ivory colour when a tree has lost its bark, when it's old. Just soften the bottom of the bushes into the foreground a little bit. It's still quite wet, but this will do for these purposes, I think. A burnt umber. And French ultramarine. We'll add a dark, little touch more shadow into the bottom. With a rigger brush, or as fine a brush as you can find, just build the branches out on these trees. Once you've got your branches in a bit and it's dried a little, this is a number 2 round, and with some burnt umber and French ultramarine that's been watered down, we can just simply add the foliage on the trees. It's the same colour as the trees, just slightly weaker. And it helps you construct a painting faster time. It's a bit strong, a bit too much paint on the brush, so I'll have to drag some round. Always think about the shape of the tree. You don't just put these on at random. Then we come to the middle tree, and I don't want, I want to put streaks of bark in. I actually want the Naples yellow to show through. Into that with your dark, which is the ultramarine and burnt umber. We can just drop this in spots, just on the right hand side of the tree, just to add a little bit more shadow. With your fine rigger brush again, you can build your tree out. And once again, as this can be a little bit time consuming, I'll turn the camera off and we'll join you in a few minutes. Once you've got your tree looking like that, you just go back to your same sky colour, well, tree colour mixture, sorry, which was the French ultramarine and burnt umber, and with the same brush you can apply the outside leaves in the same manner that you applied the others. You could actually make these a little bit darker. Just add a little bit more over here just to help fill the back end slightly. I think it just needs a little bit more. And we need that to dry. Again, once it's dried slightly in here, we can actually bring some of the foreground in with a couple of sweeping strokes. The number 4 round brush. This is a mixture of French ultramarine and light red with a tiny touch of burnt umber. Tipped in the wrong one there, which goes to show you can make a mistake. Darken it up around the edges, really just to bring your eye into the centre of the painting. French ultramarine and burnt umber just drops in on the front here and there, not everywhere. I want the light patch in the middle to stand out. Just to create the dark shadow. We can leave that to dry. Okay, once it's dry we'll come to the water, and this is just a clean brush with clean water, and we're just going to put a film of water all the way across, just redampening the paper, just roughly, you know, where they are. This is just a nickel yellow, also some of the Naples yellow. I want to leave this area clear for a really good reflection. Sky colour again, which is a cobalt blue and burnt sienna. Has to go in. Maybe a touch across here. Maybe it comes out over there. We have the cobalt blue, burnt sienna. These are all horizontal strokes. Of the bushes along here, but I'm only going to indicate them, don't go wild. Mark along the bottom as well, because that's all on there. Stop fiddling, and we're going to allow that to dry for a moment or two. Okay, I've just left it about 10 minutes. This could still be a little bit too wet, but with the same colour, burnt umber and French ultramarine, I'm just going to indicate just a few of the trees. We're only looking for an indication, nothing major. Just on this bit. And then I just want to drop some what could be described as foliage around the edge. Same on this one. It's a little bit over here. Don't want the reflections to come up too high, otherwise I'll have to show the mountain at the back and I really don't want to do that. So where the reflection is the main tree, I'm just running some water up very gently and just indicating one or two of the branches. I don't want to get bogged down in detail with this one either. So into that we'll just drop the rather strong mixture of Naples yellow. Let it come up here, as this is the main feature. Just a quick indication. I don't want to mirror it, just a couple of black stem black to go. Okay, kind of thing. Again, I'm just going to soften this in all the way around. This is just clean water. And into that same colour, which is the French ultramarine and the burnt umber. Just indicate some foliage. Soften off where it needs to be. And then we're going to leave all that to dry. Okay, now the painting's dry, all I've done is just scratched in a few water lines with a ruler and a craft knife. All you have to do now is sign it, put a mount around it and frame it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. And if you've enjoyed it, please click the like button and subscribe.